Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we are going to be looking at Amazon FBA PPC tutorial for beginners and really just looking at a strategy where you can enter into Amazon either launching your first or your next product and really take it by storm by leveraging the power of pay-per-click advertising. So if you're interested in this sort of content, make sure you are subscribed with those little notifications turned on. Let's get into the video straight away. Welcome if you're new here, welcome back if you're not. My name is Johnny Bradley, I'm founder of the Seller Pro Academy, where we help ordinary people create extraordinary things, just one product at a time. One of those people is going to be joining me today on this video. His name is Jason. He's one of my 10K, one of my 100K club members, which means that he's made his first 10,000 and his first 100,000 selling on Amazon, and he's an absolute master blaster when it comes to pay-per-click advertising. He loves numbers, he loves the details, so we're going to get him on Skype in a second, and we're going to be going through a tutorial, a beginner's strategy for PPC, because what we were discussing when we were coming up with the idea for this video is sometimes it's more important to know the whole strategy and why things work rather than what button to click. So I think this is going to be a really valuable video if you're either launching a product, if you have a product launched already, or you're about to launch like kind of a new product or your first product. So let's call him up and get into it straight away. All right, guys, we are here with Jason, second time round. Didn't record the first time. It's all good though. Before we kind of go into the tutorial, the PPC strategy for beginners, I just want people to understand a little bit about who you are, your journey with Amazon. So we know that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I like to think I do. So I started selling on Amazon about a year and 2 months ago. Recently joined the 100K club. Got 5 products now that are launched. They're the ones. I haven't my desk as well. Been selling Amazon, as I say, just for over a year. Really in depth. Launched 5 products. I've been really studying PPC, locked away in a room for months on end now, and trying to really analyze it and find the best practices of PPC. Here we are now.
Exactly, yeah. And I think one of your strong points is data, right? It's PPC, and I think it's something that's, first of all, it's quite hard to get your head around, particularly as a beginner. So today, there's a lot of videos out there on YouTube which talks about what buttons to click and how to create a campaign, but we're not going to go through any of that stuff today, because what we found by talking to each other and thinking about strategy is that actually that most people struggle on the strategy itself and why you have to do things a certain way. So that's what we're going to go into. So my first question, I guess, for you before we get into the real specific stuff is, why is PPC important for you?
Well, PPC, Amazon's getting more and more PPC led. Without understanding PPC, you're just not going to be able to launch your product. Amazon been cracking down on launching with 90%, 100% discounts these days. So they're driving more sellers towards PPC. So PPC is important to get your product in front of the right customers at the right time to get the conversions and in the end make the money. So
of course, yeah.
That is why PPC is so important. Everyone's going to get upskilled on it. Everyone's going to get more competitive at it. So you need to understand it and be at the forefront to really be successful.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. You mentioned about Amazon are pushing people towards PPC because they make a lot of money from PPC because it costs them nothing, right? It costs them zero to put your ads onto their own platform. So it's a really great income producing source for them. But I think also what you mentioned, as it gets more competitive, harder, there'll be a lot of people that don't increase their focus on PPC, which means a beginner can come in, or someone that's launching a first product or a new product, and really actually do very well if they have a good strategy.
You can, yeah. We'll talk about some of that in a bit, of how you can actually look into that and actually target people and competitors to actually start ranking above them. There is ways and means of doing that. So you're right. You need to be, if you understand what you're doing, you can be successful from the beginning. So it is very important to have these strategies in place to actually have a successful launch, for sure, and then keep your PPC running successfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so I know obviously you have a lot of students, Johnny.
Yeah.
So what's the 3 biggest failures that they have?
Yeah, so you just mentioned, or did you just mention? You were just mentioning kind of beginners and stuff like that. And there's a few ways that you can really stand out, but also I think as a beginner, there's a few ways where you can really kind of hurt yourself, hurt your chances with PPC,
Yep.
because as you know, as I know, as maybe quite a lot of people watching will know, but some people won't know, is that PPC is a tool, it's a method, it's a strategy to make more sales. So there's three things that I find people that struggle with, and I think we're gonna really nail one of them today, and the other two are kind of not PPC related. So the first is not having a strategy. I think that is just kind of turning on PPC and go, I'm just going to run it, right, and see what happens. And that's not the way to do it, because it's so important. And alongside that is, I think we're probably going to talk about this later, is making data-based decisions rather than emotional-based. Or like, oh my God, it's spending lots today, I better turn it off. Or this is doing really well, I think, so I'm just going to up my budget or up my bid. And making decisions that there's no data behind those decisions. So I think those two things are really important. They go hand in hand. But the other two things, images not optimized and not enough reviews. So basically listing optimization as a whole. Images have a huge impact, and I know you know this, and even changing one image can make your click-through rate. And I understand this is a beginner tutorial, but things like this are really, really important. Same with reviews. That's going to help your conversion rate. And when you're putting money into advertising, even a 1% difference on these numbers can make a big difference within your overall campaign and your overall success, right? So I would say the first thing to do before you go into PPC, just for anyone that is listening, watching, whatever, before doing any of these strategies that we're going to talk about, make sure that you've got your images nailed. Make sure that you are getting reviews on your listing. Don't, some people launch PPC without reviews. It's crazy, but get some reviews, right? Get as many reviews as you possibly can. So you've launched a bunch of products, right?
Yep.
Are you able to take us through your process, right? And you've done it quite a few times. So what do you have, like a process nailed down now?
I think pretty much so. It changes from product to product and competitiveness of each niche, so to speak. But my general process as an overview, obviously I have my product. I will use Helium 10 for all my keyword research. But what people need to understand is, people say, right, okay, I'm going to go into Helium 10, I'm going to run Cerebro, and I'm going to run Magnet. So these are two tools in Helium 10.
Yeah, can you just explain a bit more about just an overview on those tools?
Yeah, so one of the tools you can do targeted ASIN searches. So you can type in you can take your competitor's ASIN, you can plug it into the tool, and it will bring you down all the keywords that competitor is indexed for. Okay.
Wow, we got you a load of data. We got some words in there. Okay. Let's bring it back to basics. So let's look at ASIN and indexed.
ASIN.
So
ASIN is. Yeah, ASIN is just your competitor. It's their ASIN of their listing, effectively. So it just makes sure Helium 10 knows what listing you're looking at.
Cool.
And then the index is if you sell for a certain keyword, or if you have a keyword in your listing, then you index it. Amazon will index for you. So when someone types in that keyword, your listing will come up at some point throughout all the other listings. Yeah.
And that's kind of like like Google, right? You got to think of Amazon like a search platform.
So it's no different.
Exactly.
No different,
a website would be indexed for keywords, so that when you type in, the question or the thing that you're looking to find on Google, that website will pop up. And the same thing works for Amazon. So we want to know know where our competitors are ranking. So what keywords are they ranking for?
Correct. Yeah, I want to see, because with this tool, you can see what they're ranking for. You can't specifically how much they're selling, but you can see the sales results on that specific keyword as well. So you can see how competitive that keyword is. You just get everything, what they're doing. You can also see what they're running sponsored ads for as well. So it's quite powerful that way. So I will get all my keywords using that method. I will also then put in my product name or my main keywords from my product. And again, it will drop down a load of keywords that are relevant to that product.
So similar to, or often searched alongside. So if it was an iPhone stand, for example, people might search iPhone 6 stand or stand for phone.
Correct. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but what people then, what you need, you're going to get thousands and thousands of keywords, depending how broad or your product is. You need to then use your own brain to be completely honest with you. These tools will give you keywords, but you need to filter through them yourself. It might take you 2, 3, 4 hours, but you need to make sure they're relevant to your product, because Amazon are not going to like it if you start throwing a million keywords out there which aren't relevant to your product. They won't even show it anyway. The algorithm is clever enough now to understand that. So you want to get around 100 to 150 keywords that are relevant to your product. And it doesn't really matter. A lot of people talk about search volume as well. Search volume being how many people search that specific keyword. Don't worry if it's got a low search volume, because that means it's going to be very, very it's non-competitive, which means it's probably going to be a cheap keyword to target and quite easy to target that. So that's what I look at as well. So I'll have my main list of keywords is the first thing I'll do with my strategy.
So on that list, you'd have some keywords that do have a lot of search volume. So a lot of customers are searching for those main keywords, because I find quite a lot that the main keyword, the best keyword, the broadest keyword is the least profitable. And it's because everyone's trying to bid on that keyword. The bid price goes way, way through the roof. So you have to have that mix of people, keywords that have a lot of search, but also you need those normally longer tail keywords. So there'll be a phrase, for example, a longer series of words, and the bids might the bid. We should probably explain bid as well, but the bids on them will be a lot lower because there's less search volume. People might not even know that the people are searching for it. For anyone that's interested on a bid, a great way to think of this is just like eBay, right? When you go on eBay and you want to buy a product, then you would put in your bid of how much you're willing to pay for it. And then eBay will do the bidding by itself. So you can put your maximum bid in and it bids up in increments until you reach your maximum bid. And if no one bids higher than you, you win the bid. The same thing happens on Amazon, but instead of buying a product, you're buying a sponsored placement. So when you search on Amazon, the first few listings come up, it'll say sponsored underneath. So you're bidding to be able to get your product in that space, and Amazon will automatically bid based upon how much other people are bidding, just like eBay. It's like an auction. Just in case anyone was wondering about that.
Yep. Yeah. So again, this comes back to the strategy as well of what strategy you want to implement. Are you going for ranking? Are you going for conversions? Are you just going to search for keywords that might be, a cheaper keywords? It all depends what your budget is and things like that. For me, I know I can budget X amount of money when I launch a product. So I'm going for ranking. I want to get up those main keywords as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as you said, you want those longer tail keywords to supplement the overspend on the main keywords that you're going to have for a period of time until you get those organic sales.
Just explain that a little bit. So when you say overspend, you're overspending on the main keywords, and why is it that you're doing that?
We're going to do that at the start because we just haven't got the social proof. We can get the reviews in place. If you can get yourself 15, 20, 25 reviews in place, but you're still not going to have that social proof of being, within the top set. Again, it depends how competitive your niche is, but if you've got sellers in there that are, have got 100, 200 reviews, you're not quite going to be competing with them, but over time you will grow. And what it's doing then with that overspend of that keyword, where you've got longer tail keywords that might be running at a 15% or 10% average cost of spend, that's going to supplement the ones that you're spending over on. So your actual average A cost for that campaign will be profitable, but you're still gaining that organic rank on those higher keywords. So it's okay. Yeah. So you're spending more. That's fine. But look at the overall picture,
Yeah. So you're making sales from these expensive keywords, right? These things that they're going to cost you a lot of money. And it may not be profitable at that point to sell those products, but they're adding to your rank so that when people search the keyword, you're turning up organically higher up, which means you get more organic sales. I think this is a really good time to bring in just some definition talk around ACOS and TCOS, because everyone talks about ACOS, right? Average cost of sale, but no one talks about TCOS, and this is something that we talk in depth about. So can you just explain what is ACOS, why is it important, and then equally what is TCOS, and again, why is that equally as important?
Yeah, so your a lot of people focus on ACOS. Yes, ACOS is important. So that is your average cost of spend. So Say your profit margin is 30%, and your ACOS is 30%, and you're breaking even for that keyword, which is fine. It's really hard to explain without having any figures in front. But if you keep your ACOS consistent at 30%, so you're spending the same amount of money on your advertising, and you make £100 off a 30% ACOS. But then you're gaining your organic rank. So every time you make organic sales, your TCOS is actually coming down. So your total cost of sales is coming down.
So just
it's
saying,
really difficult to.
So ACOS will be how much money you have spent to sell a product directly through advertising, whereas TCOS is how much you spent on advertising relating to your total sales, which includes your organic sales as well. Right? Correct.
Yeah. So that's the figure you want to concentrate on, because at the end of the month, that is your total cost of sales is what your profit is. Doesn't matter, if your ACOS and your campaigns are 50%, but you're making a hell of a lot more organic sales as well, your TCOS will probably still be profitable if your profit margin is 30%. So focus on that TCOS, and what you want to have happening is at the start, your TCOS will be obviously very similar to your ACOS, because you'll be generating mostly advertised sales until you start getting the organic rank. But over time, you should see that TCOS decline. It doesn't matter if the ACOS stays at
it doesn't matter if it goes up. Even if it goes up, as long as the TCOS is going down, you're in a good space. Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. So look at TCOS just as much as ACOS, or even more so than ACOS.
And this isn't something that Amazon give us. They don't give us this TCOS data, right? So this is something you work out yourself. Very easy to work out. You take it on a month or a week or whatever it may be, how much you've spent on advertising on your sponsored listings, and then how much you've made in revenue. And that's it.
Exactly.
It's very easy to work out.
ACOS is, So ACOS is how much you've spent on advertising against what you've made in sales through advertising only. TCOS is advertising over the whole amount of your sales.
And ultimately,
very easy to work.
Businesses, that's how they work, right? How much money have we spent in advertising over the total cost of our sales? Because you're always going to get sales. The more advertising you do, the higher, the more sales you're going to make. Even if you're making a few extra sales per day, that's going to increase your rank, right? It'll put you further up the page on Amazon. And from that, you're going to get more organic sales. So really, really monitor the especially when you're starting, it's just understanding that, hey, your ACOS may be high, but your TCOS actually may be profitable and you may be in a good space, but you're kind of like manipulated into thinking that you're not making money, but you are. Cool. So let's kind of go back to your strategy, right? So we looked at keywords. So you've got your keywords, you've done all your keyword, you understand your 150 keywords that you're going to target through PPC. What's the next step?
Correct. So the next step would be, so there's a little bit more of an in-depth step that you can do. I probably won't get it into this video, but you can actually, if you've got brand analytics and things like if you're brand registered on Amazon, you can actually look into your competitors on certain keywords and you can find how well they're converting. Because another good thing to remember is with rank, it is it's based on sales velocity, but it's also based on your conversion rate as well. If your conversion rate isn't as good as the top competitors, you will not rank there, because Amazon don't think your listing should be placed that high because you don't convert as much for it, for that specific keyword. So that's another thing you can do. But for me, I'll also then go into the ads manager and I will set up my first campaign. So I'll always run an auto campaign. That's the first thing I do, is run an auto campaign, because my very first product I launched, I still have an auto campaign running, just because every week I can look at it and there might be just some keyword there that it throws up. I'm like, that's new, and that might make me money. So first things first, auto campaign, and then I'll take my 100 to 150 keywords. I will then put those into a manual campaign, but I'll only do broad and phrase match only.
Okay. So let me explain.
We might want to go into.
We'll explain this. We'll explain some of these terminologies. So first of all, automatic campaign is basically you're giving Amazon your listing and saying, this is my product. You go and advertise it however you see fit. Right? It uses its algorithms. It uses all the keyword data that you put into your listing, and it goes and puts ads all over Amazon and just tries to find out what your product is, right? The reason why that's good is because it just gathers a lot of data that you don't necessarily know is there until you've advertised. The bad thing about it is that it's very unspecific. It's not very targeted, and you can't really optimize it because it's all automatic, right? A manual campaign is when you tell Amazon specifically what words you want to target. So when a customer searches, these words, your advert will come up, and then you can also tell Amazon how much you're willing to spend, just like on the eBay auction. What is your maximum bid for specific keywords? With on auto campaign, you can't do that. You can only put your maximum for like everything. When we go into manual campaigns, there's different types they're called match types, right? We won't go into too much detail, but you mentioned broad and phrase, right?
Phrase, yep.
So a phrase match would be, let's say it's phone stand is our product, right? Phone stand. A phrase match would be where that's the keyword that you enter into your manual campaign. But what Amazon will do is put words before and after it. So it might be iPhone phone stand or iPhone stand for Samsung Galaxy, whatever it may be, but it's before and after to create a phrase, right? It's kind of in the name. Whereas a broad match campaign can be words that are similar to, right? So they're words that you don't know exactly. I can't think of one for iPhone stand. Phone stand would be one, right? Phone stand, because it's not iPhone or no, the phone stand was the initial one I said. iPhone stand would be a broad match because it's not a phrase, because we've deleted the word phone, but we've put in iPhone. So it would technically be a broad match in that case. We also have other matching types, which is exact, which is if I put in phone stand, it will only show for phone stands. Nothing before, nothing after, nothing in the middle, only phone stands. I think I got that right, or have I explained it right?
That's it's again, it's something very difficult just to explain over a video. You need to have examples in front of you. But pretty much spot on. So, I'll target broad and phrase match. People ask why I don't do exact match, because you're not getting any value out of that. One, it's going to be really expensive, and two, you want to give Amazon's algorithm, it is super powerful, their algorithm. You want to give it a chance to actually say, well, listen here, this works, this doesn't work, this does, and that's what you'll get out of your search term report after a few weeks. So that's why we only do broad and phrase, so we can sort of spread our products, like casting a large
net, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're gonna put it back, and you're gonna find winners, you're gonna find losers, and we'll work that from there. So I'll do a broad and phrase. So that's on every keyword. So effectively, if you've got 150 keywords, you'll have 300 keywords total, 150 phrase, 150 broad.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's the first thing. We then go to sort of bid management. So obviously you talked about the auction bid earlier. This gets a little bit more in depth because Amazon now have dynamic bids up and down, dynamic bids down only, fixed bids. For me, I do dynamic bid down only because it gives you more control over your budget.
Can you just explain what that is as well?
Yeah, so effectively, if you say for this keyword, my budget for the bid, or my bid is going to be £1, then if you do dynamic bid up and down, the up part, you can tell Amazon, right, I will spend 500% more on that bid, if he wants to do, I wouldn't advise it, to come at the top of the keyword search. So it's effectively saying, if you think it's really relevant, and I will spend X amount more money to come there. If not, then you'll keep it at £1. And if it's dynamic bid down, then Amazon will reduce that bid if it doesn't think it's relevant or the auction is lower.
Cool. Perfect. So it's trying to make the most of your money.
Exactly. And if you do up, it will just throw money at pretty much everything that it thinks relevant, and your budget will be spent. If you've got the budget and if you want to be really aggressive, then go for it. But it's a lot harder to track as well when you actually look at the analysis, or when you go into the data. It's tough to understand what really is the true cost of that. So
especially when you're starting, is maybe set your bids manually, and then you can choose to have the bidding, the dynamic bid lower, so that you're gonna only spend less than what you wanted to spend.
Exactly that. Yeah, you're gonna to get a better feel for where your ad should be.
Cool.
So yeah, so I'll look into dynamic bids. What I'm going to do there. Trying to think where else we go from there.
What about
you've
setting
got your bids effectively?
Yeah, so I was about to say, what about setting your bids? Because you've got 150 keywords or a total of 300.
Correct.
So how do you know where to start? What do you put your bid in at?
Yeah, so you can actually work out your break-even bid. There is a calculation for it. It's a bit of a chicken and egg because you need to know your conversion rate to work out your break-even bid. So what I generally do when I start a product, I've got other products, so I can gauge of where my conversion rate's going to be. So I usually put it at between 15 and 20%, depending how confident I am, so to speak. Usually fairly confident. So to work out your break-even bid, you want to take your ACOS, which is your average cost of spend, or your break-even point, your profit, times that by your conversion rate. So it might be 15 or 20%, depending how you're feeling. Times that by your price will give you a break-even bid. So that might chop out $1 as a break-even bid. So that's your benchmark, so to speak.
So you can spend up to $1 on a click. On a click to break even. And let me just explain that a little bit for everyone in the opposite way, right? So let's say your product sells for £10, okay? And your conversion rate is 10%. I need to keep the maths very simple here. That means 1 out of every 10 people that click your listing buy your product, right? So if you know that 1 out of every 10 people that click the listing buy the product, you can bloody hell. If you get 10 clicks, right? If you're paying for 10 clicks, you're going to sell 1 product. So from that, you can work out how much you can afford to spend per click so that it's either profitable or it's break even for you. That makes sense, doesn't it? I hope.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's all in the numbers. It's quite difficult.
This isn't a piece of data that Amazon give you. This is something that you're going to have to work out yourself.
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct. Yeah. So, I'll add my benchmark of what I can spend. I'll then allow myself 20-25% increase on that when I'm launching on my bid. That's what I will run through. I might, I'll start off putting that bid straight down, all the way down 150 keywords, and I'll then go through because Amazon says suggested bid is between this and this. So I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to put 25% onto that bid anyway because I'm launching, and I'll up the bid accordingly. And I'll go down all of the keywords. Some will be less suggested bid, but I'll still keep it the same because I know I'm going to be break even at that point, and I'll just rank straight at the top anyway.
Perfect.
So that'll be my next thing to do.
Yeah.
So your bids are set, and you're effectively then ready to launch that manual campaign. When you do launch it,
just a quick question before you go into that. How long are we really looking to run our automatic campaigns and our broad and our phrase campaigns at the start to gather data? Because this is something that I kind of hinted at earlier, and I think it's a really good time to bring it up.
Yeah, it takes time. Like these 3-4 weeks, you're not going to get your ad warm enough. They say warm these days. It takes time for the algorithm to work out what keywords do work, what keywords don't work. Especially with auto campaign as well. It's out there fishing for keywords. Your autos, as I said, it's going to be running forever and a day. It's never going to stop running. You might change your budget on it and things like that, or your bids on it and things like that. But with your manual campaign that we've just set up, at least 3 weeks, because it needs to warm up. It needs to understand what is working, what is not working. What you'll see, you'll launch this manual campaign, and your ACOS will be high. It's gonna be high because it's working out what's happening, what's not. And you'll see, even if you don't touch it, you'll see over time that ACOS will decrease because the algorithm will work out what's working and what's not. It's not. That's what Amazon want to show your product to the right people. They're not going to, if it doesn't work, that keyword doesn't work, they're going to sort of stop showing it so much. They might not even enter it into the bidding system. I could put in a keyword for one of my products which is completely irrelevant, and I could bid like £100. Amazon just won't show it because it's not relevant. They're very clever. They want their customer experience.
Exactly.
So 3-4 weeks. You can start looking at the data after 1 week, of course, but it's not really going to tell you too much. You need to wait 3 to 4 weeks at least.
I think that's one of the really hard things as a beginner is waiting, right? Is thinking, oh my God, I'm spending money and I need to optimize this. And the problem is that if you optimize things too soon, then you're going to make bad decisions. You need data. A way I like to think about it is work on hundreds, right? So if you've had 100 clicks or 100 sales or 100 whatever, because then you can very easily work out a rough percentage of it does this work. But you absolutely need data. Like, for example, if after 24 hours you're like, oh my God, this isn't working, then you need to chill, right? You need to chill and wait longer. 24 hours isn't enough time. 48 hours isn't enough time. 72 hours is not enough time. You need to give it.
Nope.
You need to give it time and have the strategy in place for that time.
Correct. Yeah, exactly that. ACOS they vary from day to day. Even still, it's weird. It just happens, but it's a day. Things can happen in a day. Like sales. Sales vary every day. It's the same. It's the same with PPC. So let it run. Just yes, you're spending money. Yes, it might not be profitable just yet. Hopefully it will be with, as I said, sort of the TCOS and everything else. But you're gathering so much data on your customers and what they're searching. Although you don't get to know your customers, you're gathering that much data. It's going to make it really powerful when you go to your next step of optimization and things like that. So you need that data. Without that data, you can't do anything. So it's pointless.
Exactly, yeah. So should we just talk a little bit about optimization? And we don't want to go into too much detail, but I always want to talk about, the importance of optimization and how you approach optimizing these campaigns that so you've got like 4 weeks of data, let's say. What are we doing? What are we looking at on that data to get rid of the losers and keep the winners?
Of course. Yeah. Obviously, apart from the manual campaign, I'll also do some product targeting as well, but that's a whole nother video, to be honest with you. So you've got data, you've picked it up from everyone. You picked up from your Seller Central, and you've got these 150 keywords. It'll be more than that because you've had your automatic campaign as well. You've got a load of keywords, right? So this is where the data part comes into it. I worked on Excel sheets pretty much all my life when I was at my old job. So you now need to analyze that data and what is working, what isn't working, what is giving you sales, what is not giving you sales, what is relevant, what is not. So the first thing I do is look at the clicks. What keywords are getting a lot of clicks? So obviously, if they're getting a lot of clicks, then they're going to be relevant because customers are clicking.
Let's just pause there, right? And what I think people really need to understand is what a click actually means, right? Because people saying I'm getting clicks or I'm not getting clicks. Let's say it's a relevant keyword, and we know it's relevant, but no one's clicking on it. What is that telling us about that customer's journey?
So sorry, if they're getting clicks, but they're not converting. Is that what you're?
No. So it's if they're not getting clicks on a relevant keyword, like I'm bidding on these keywords, they're relevant, but I'm not getting clicks. What is that an obvious sign of?
Well, your listing or your hero image is not good enough, or your offer. It could be a million things. But then again, you can look at your impressions as well. If you've got 10,000 impressions, 0 clicks, then either the keyword isn't relevant. But you can use your head. I know that keyword is relevant. Your listing's not good enough.
Exactly.
So again, this is not just about PPC and how to be profitable about PPC. It actually tells you if your listing's any good.
Exactly.
So it gives you so much power. As I say, it gives you your whole business in this report tells you what's working and what isn't.
Yeah. So when you're going through that optimization and you're looking at this data, let the data talk to you, and you've got to be one with the data. And if, like you're saying, you have high impressions but no clicks, or a very, very low amount of clicks, like a really low click-through rate, then that is a sign of literally one of two things. There's something about your listing which could anything that the customer can see at that point, your picture, your title, your price, your reviews, those are the things that people can see. Or the keyword isn't relevant, so it's showing to people, so it's being impressed on people's screens, basically. And they're not clicking it because it's not the right product. It's not exactly what they searched for. In which case, you can think, okay, do I get rid of this keyword because it's not relevant? Or is there a common theme throughout these and other keywords that I'm finding that I'm getting high impressions but no clicks? In which case, It's something about the listing. It's something that's not quite right, which you can then go
Yes.
and optimizing PPC is as much optimizing your listing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It will tell you if there's something wrong, effectively.
Yeah.
So it's super powerful. It's what you need. It's what you need. So yeah, I'll look at the clicks first. I'll look at clicks and I'll look at conversion rate as well. If there's a lot of clicks and no conversions, then again we're going to go into a bit more detail than we probably should. But you can work out as we talked about earlier. If your conversion rate's 10%, it takes 10 clicks to sell. Okay, now if you're running a conversion rate 10% and one of the keywords has got 150 clicks, then that's not a profitable keyword. Something's wrong. Either the keyword's not relevant, or we go one step further. Once they've clicked into your listing's not converting. So that's another step where you can look. I like to think that my listings are fully optimized, and will convert well. I've done enough of them now to know that. So I will see that, okay, this isn't converting. The keyword clearly just doesn't work. So you can actually just get rid of it. You might think, oh, will it though? But the data's proven to you that it doesn't work. So just kill it off. So that's the first thing I'll do. Anything that's getting a lot of clicks, no conversions. When I say no, I mean 0 conversions. Then just kill it because it's not relevant. I'll then look at so you've got your ACOS as well of different keywords. If the ACOS is too high, I'll bring the bid down.
Yep.
If the ACOS is extremely low, I'll increase the bid because I want to keep ranking for that keyword because it's making me money.
So just briefly explain what you mean by that. So if the ACOS, let's say it's a 40%, right? Well, let's just say it's 50%, right? And it's making you money, but it's quite a high ACOS, right? You're like, oh, this could be doing low. So at that point, you're lowering the bid, correct?
Correct. Yeah, well, it's twofold really, because if I want to be ranking still for that keyword, if I'm still not really ranking on the first page, I'll probably keep it because I want to keep ranking for that specific keyword. It's one of my targeted keywords I want to rank for. That'll be in my strategy when I first set out. But if I'm sort of on the first page getting organic sales from that keyword anyway, I'll optimize it, bring it down to try and bring that ACOS down a little bit. It just means I won't be ranked first at the start of the morning. I'll probably rank 5th or 6th in the auction, but over the day I will rise and I'll start making some
Let's explain that, right? Let's explain that, because what happens with PPC is that you say that you want to spend again, let's say £10 a day, right? And people will click on it, and let's say it's £1 a click. Then after 10 clicks, you're out of budget. Okay.
Yep.
So that means that your ads are no longer displaying to customers anymore, but other people's will be, but they may be bidding 90 pence, right? They may be paying 90 pence for the same click so they can get a few more clicks in. So generally towards the end of the day, it tends to be that you either basically the people that have been spending a lot run out of budget, which means that the bids or the amount that it is to win the auction, to win the bids, becomes lower because all these people that are bidding high, or they've run out of budget. Just to explain that very briefly.
Yeah, so that's what I'll do as I say, it depends what keywords I'm looking to do with them, and I will decrease the bid. If I've been running these campaigns for a long time, I'm just always optimizing up and down, up and down, up and down to see where it's sitting. It changes because you get new competitors come in. Competitors might be optimizing their PPC. You don't know. You just need to be one step ahead of them. So every week I'm doing that. So I'll do that with this new set of results I've got anyway. So that's sort of more the optimization thing. Click-through rate, I know we spoke about click-through rate earlier. If I've got a click-through rate that is very, very low, it's got a load of impressions and no one's really clicking through, I will just kill that keyword as well because it's clearly not relevant. So that's the other thing I would do. But from this set of results as well, I will take anything that's profitable and I will put that into a new campaign. So this will be sort of like my protected campaign, my profitable campaign. Because I know these keywords are profitable. At that bid and at that margin, I'm going to be profitable with these keywords. So what I can then do, if I've got 10 keywords in there that all have an ACOS of say 15%, I can put like £100 budget on that campaign because it doesn't matter how much ad spend I spend, I know it's still going to be profitable. So it doesn't matter. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I just cane that campaign. So what effectively you want to do over time is to have a lot of profitable keywords in your protected and your profitable campaign, and always just be churning out these new tested keywords in here. And you've got your automatic doing the same sort of thing, finding new keywords that helium 10 or you haven't thought about or something like that. So it goes automatic, that's a new keyword, test it, that's profitable, get it in your profitable campaign.
So you're kind of ascending a keyword from the automatic campaign or from your keyword research through something like helium 10. So that's gathering as much data as you possibly can. Some of them will win, some of them will lose. You test them out a bit, you manage the bids a bit, and once you know that it's a good keyword for you, and you know exactly how much you have to spend, how many clicks you have to get, and it's predictable, then you take it into your winning campaign, which is your protected one. So the ones, if I need to sell more, I can just up my bids on all of these. Or if I need to stop spending money, I can turn these ones off, or like whatever it may be. But they're the ones where you're I know that these ones make me money. And at that point, you can then put your daily budget basically at anything, right? So that your ads are displaying throughout the day. Like we said earlier, a few seconds ago, sometimes your budget will run out. Well, if you know these keywords are converting for you, then you want them to be running all day, every single day. So you can put a very, very high daily budget. And probably not even spend it
profitably, then no, you won't. If they're converting profitably, then just throw money at it. Why wouldn't you? It's crazy not to, because you're going to get that rank, and you're going to get organic rank, and you're going to get the conversion juice as well. So you'd be mad not to. So in a nutshell, that is pretty much the strategy there. Obviously, there's a lot more to think about and to target, and there's all sorts of other great stuff that you can do, but we haven't got time in this video. But that's sort of overall strategy.
So I was going to say one thing that I know, a question that comes up is how often, probably two questions. How often would you optimize? How many times a week are you looking at it, or once a week, or what is it?
I'll do it once a week.
Yep.
I don't think, you can check on the app, or you can check when you go into the central how it's running. But personally, I'll do it once a week. If you start running out of budget within 2 or 3 hours, then obviously you need to start looking into why that's happening. But if you've done your research, you shouldn't. But I'll do it once a week. I'll sit down and I'll lock myself away for a couple of hours, and off I go.
Back into the spreadsheets.
So once a week.
It's where you live.
Exactly. Back into the data.
That's cool. And just to, if you do see red flags like budgets, being used very, very quickly, then you can always go and look into it. But for the most part, you want to give it a week, give it time to do its thing, and then optimize it all in one go. If you can do it on the same day, all that sort of stuff really helps. I guess then. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So also, I'm not the reason. Also, I said earlier that you need to give it 3 to 4 weeks for these campaigns to warm up. What I'm doing, I'm not going in and optimizing and creating a new campaign. I'm just optimizing existing campaigns that are already warm when I'm optimizing them, so the results happen a lot quicker. That's what you've got to remember as well. So keep the same campaigns. That campaign didn't work. I'm going to take all these ones that are winning now, or I'm going to do all this. I'm going to start a new campaign so my ACOS looks really nice. Don't do that. Just keep the campaigns you have.
Yeah, and just optimize the ones that you've got. Remove keywords and by adding negative keywords, basically.
Exactly.
Cool. So I guess really, really helpful. It's really, really good to get your thoughts on that and your strategy. I think as the overview, it's get good data. I think at the beginning, get good data. Give that data to Amazon and let them do their thing, right? And and gather that as much information as you can. Use the information that's in front of you to optimize not only the PPC but also your listing. If for any reason you figured out that it's not. I guess that's the three the 3 steps, I guess.
It is, yeah. So
as an overarching,
what I can really say is you've got to have a plan. Have a plan in place. What do you want to achieve? Is it rank? Is it are you looking for keywords? Do you want sort of just to slowly research and find out what does work and start bidding on those? Have an idea of what you want to achieve, and when you want to achieve it. You can't just say, okay, I want to go for rank, but what does that mean? Does that mean you want to be number one spot for what key? Have a real detailed plans you can work towards it. Because if you haven't, then you don't know what you're optimizing for. You need to have that in place. It's pointless otherwise. You're just throwing money and budget for it. You need to budget for PPC.
Absolutely, yeah. Know your figures.
Yeah.
No, definitely know. Get your spreadsheets out. Know your figures. So, just to round this video off, what is your best bit of advice? Because you've done this now. You've launched many products, and you went from knowing zero about Amazon, a year and a bit ago.
Yeah.
You've been through the process. So, what's your advice for someone that is a beginner launching their first product with regards to PPC? That is.
Try not to get overwhelmed. Take your time. As I said, definitely plan. Really, just please have a plan and where you want to be and what you want to do. That's one of the most important things I can say. And then just analyze the data. Just look at it. I know a lot of people aren't data driven like myself, but just take your time with it. It does make sense. It's not that hard to really drill down into it and work out what it's telling you. And trust the data as well. A lot of people are like, no, that can't be right. It is. It is the data. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You need to trust that data. If something's not working and the data shows it, trust it. So that's all.
I think that's really, really great advice. Yeah, really, really great advice. And I see that quite often is people get worried about, oh my God, this is happening. Just chill. And trust the data. The data knows best.
Definitely.
The data knows better than you do. Cool, guys. So we're going to round that video up. If you have enjoyed this video, first of all, I'd like to thank Jason for spending his time out his day talking to us.
No worries.
Really, really valuable. I hope you have found it valuable, everyone. If it have, then I'd love some likes on the videos, I guess. And any questions that you have, then please feel free to kind of ping them down below. Should we do a shameless plug?
Do it.
Yep. Of course, we have the One Product Strategy. Lovely little book. We do go into things like optimization. So if you're worried about optimization, listing images, stuff like that, definitely get the book. And of course, we have the Seller Pro Academy. Jason's part of that, an integral part of the team and the family. So if you want to join that, there'll be links down below and all that sort of stuff. All right, lovely guys. Make sure you are subscribed with them notifications turned on, and remember, you're just one product away. Bye bye.